Real E-Savvy Radio, your guide to more informed home ownership. Real E-Savvy is brought to you by Exit Realty of the Carolinas and the Greensboro Law Center.
What if you really could have it all?
At Exit Realty,
We believe in making dreams
come true.
We believe
We believe the home you want
is right there.
is right there.
And we'll help you find it.
Thoroughly trained, passionately committed
and always on your side.
You can count on us.
every step of the way. And you thought we just sold real estate.
We are Exit Realty. Think smart.
Think Exit.
Welcome to Real E-Savvy. Month of July, and my last column was on stick-built homes versus modulars. So today, another field trip. I'm with Jeff Holdren from HPS Systems and Heather Fair.
North Carolina Custom Modulars.
A little louder, please.
North Carolina Custom Modulars.
That's right. You know, it's regular. We'll keep it live. Okay, so over the years, in stick-built versus modulars and manufactured homes, I want to touch on that because I want to distinguish during the course of this conversation the difference from all three, because of confusion between the modulars and manufactured homes. So I'll start with that. Jeff, seems appropriate.
Difference between modulars and manufactured homes. Manufactured homes are housing and urban development coded homes. They're traditionally on a frame. They have to meet a certain set of standards for their financing through HUD. Modular homes are stick-built homes that are built off-site. They go by International Building Code. They don't go by any HUD standards whatsoever. So the same stick-built home you would have, built, framed on-site, is the same home that we build in the factory. It's just done in sections. It's done covered. It's never wet, and then it's transported to the site and put together there.
So that's the biggest. The one thing you left out is differentiate. The manufactured homes is what would be called a
HUD
mobile home.
A mobile home, right? Yeah, a mobile home trailer.
And the manufactured homes, even though you see them transported, the modular homes.
Even though you see them transported, yeah, the frame that's under them doesn't stay with the house. It comes out from underneath the house. Now there's some areas in between.
There's no title that comes with it.
Yeah, there's no
That's the
title.
biggest
It's not
difference.
chattel. It's an actual
House.
piece of property.
It's just transported.
Yeah.
So you actually build a home. The first step in buying a modular would be
Here.
with
Right.
you. Could you talk about the difference in pricing between the stick-built house and the modular, as well as the time involved?
The pricing wise, even if they were comparable per square foot, the timing of it, the efficiency of it, and the upgrades that you get for the same price would be significant in looking at what the differences are. A stick builder is going to give you a ballpark number. They don't know what their material is going to cost 6 months from now, when I know what my pricing is going to be the whole entire time. So usually with a stick built, you have an undetermined amount of money that you're going to spend, and you really don't know what the time frame is going to be. The other biggest difference is you're going to be required to get a construction loan when you do a stick built house, when we don't require them. So financially, even if they were apples to apples per square foot, between the timing of being able to lock an interest rate and the timing of the money savings for not getting a construction loan, you're saving money.
Value at the end. Is there a difference?
It's an opinion. There shouldn't be a difference, but I think sometimes that there's still a stigma on a modular home because people don't understand how they're built. They don't understand that the house is exactly identical specs, but usually a little bit superior because a manufacturing plant does bulk. So they can put 2x6 walls in your house when your stick builder is going to do 2x4.
We also put 20 to 30% more lumber in the home. It can be picked up, transported, lifted with a crane. It's wind tunnel tested at 60 miles per hour, when it's going up the road. So there has to be, structurally it has to be more sound. when there were, there's a great report from Hurricane Andrew about homes that survived the storm, and without fail, practically to the house, the ones that withstood the storm, the brunt of the storm, were all modular homes. The other thing that to build on what Heather said about the cost of the lumber, when we do the homes, that price comes and that's the price. And then the only thing that's has any sort of chance of altering is the site work, the traditional site work, the foundation. But they have long-term relationships with their contractors, so those prices are pretty much set in there too. So that there is that, this is what the price is going to be. There's not going to be any fluctuation on that. The other thing too is that when they're stick building your home, it allows the person a lot of time, the customer a lot of time to worry about that home, to go and look and see how it's progressing and the anxiety level that comes with that. With ours, they know pretty much about the date the house is going to arrive. So they can go on with their life and think about that, and they know on, the 15th of August, my house is going to be here. So within a couple of days after that, the house will be 80% finished.
Yeah, they're not taking their time
They're
going
not-
and moving walls and then
Right.
going to Lowe's and
And
saying,
adding-
I
and
want
adding
those
to their
lights and
costs.
this lights and everything like that.
And increasing their cost again.
Going through this system, it is a pretty very cut and
Yeah, it's cut and
smooth
dry.
system.
I mean, we try to make it as easy as we can in picking out everything that it's going to take for your house. So it's not like a one decision. It just gets really stressful in my experience when I see people
Right.
do that. And plus, also, just because a general contractor builds your house doesn't mean that you're guaranteed that he's going to come back. You know what I mean? If you get a construction loan, I've still heard of people giving 10% and a contractor leaving materials on there and never coming back. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more guaranteed that you know when your house is ordered. You can walk the plant, you can look at your house while it's going through the line and everything like that. And it's one of those things, when it comes to the site, it's 85% of the way done.
And during that time that it's going through the site, people can come if you're a customer, and I'm sure
They
it's
can,
different
they
for
can,
every
yeah, we can
different
arrange,
company.
that we can arrange to have people come in and look at their house while it, you want to wait until it's further along the line, because if you come in and you look at it, it's just a floor. It's not going to be very,
exciting.
very exciting to look at. I can show you other people's because the line continues to travel. The other thing too is their materials. If their builder drops off the materials on site and a weather storm comes up, rain, snow, hurricane, their materials are all laying out there in the wet. If the building's half constructed, or they framed the walls out and framed the roof, but there's no sheeting on it, there's just sheeting on the floor, it gets rained on, that rain puddles on the floor, they come through, squeegee, and get off what they can get off, but time is money. They keep building, and now you've got moisture trapped inside your house. So that OSB's wet, those walls are, those studs are wet, and they're going to hold that moisture because they're not treated lumber. Our stuff's going to be dry. It's kept under roof, it's kept in a building, it's built in a building, it never leaves the building without plastic covering on it, so it's never out in the weather. If you do have something where, say there was a bit of a slice in the plastic or something and some water does infiltrate, you're right there. You can pull that piece out, pull that insulation out, put new insulation in, new pieces of sheetrock in, and it's dry. So your chances of having mold and mildew inside of our houses are pretty close to slim and none.
So just for the audience, Jeff, you do the actual building with HBS. You do
Right,
the actual
well,
building.
Yeah, I work for the factory that does the building. You don't want me.
No, he's not going to do that. I was going to say that.
I don't know, the audio video. See,
Yeah.
this is a good reason to go to realleasavvy.com, because you can see the video. So Jeff doesn't look like he's built anything.
No.
He's a salesperson.
Yeah.
You're the person that actually deals with the public. So
Yes.
in the explanation, you have a few Jeffs that you deal with on a day-to-day basis that
Yeah.
No, it's like Jeff. Yeah.
that you can basically, somebody could come in and have their pick of how many different floor plans do you have?
We got about 500 and then custom. So it's really no different than, there's pretty much anything that's buildable we can build, as long as it can fit under a roof of being built, you know what I mean, depending on what factory it is. Some of them have different capabilities than other ones. Actually, HBS has some of the most capabilities. They'll build more than most will. But
Yeah, it doesn't matter if 1 story, 2 story, Frank, whatever.
no, we've done 2 stories, anything with them. So
Yeah, I just came from a set that was a almost 3,000 square foot 2-story, $5, 2-story. You know, luxury level, $500,000 home.
Wow.
But you have homes that are, you know, like $130,000 entry level homes, maybe even. Oh, I'm so sorry. But you have homes that are, you know, 1,300 square foot, 1,000 square foot ranches, and then you have homes that are. I've got another one that's 3,000 some odd square feet. The largest one I've ever done personally for someone was 7,500 square feet.
So the question that comes to me is, how is that transported over the road, and does that impact the final cost because the amount of, you know,
Not when
being
it
somebody
comes to
that
square
has a CDL license and understands the
Well,
transportation.
okay, you can
gets through it.
transfer over the highway with lead cars, escorts. You can transfer anything that's up to 16 feet wide and 76 feet long. The actual box itself is 76 feet long. So as long as you stay within that realm, what's that, 80 total feet, I think, on the entire length of the trailer or the carrier, and then the truck. You know, the trucks are enormous; they're 20-some feet long. So you got 100 feet of material going up the road. You know, but as long as you stay within those realms and you can arrange the boxes accordingly and fit within the way that we build. There's a lot of stuff you could do. That the home I was just talking about was a stick-built plan that we shifted some walls around and changed some things in to make it work. Kept the general layout and mood of the plan, and actually I think the people that were buying it improved the plan a good deal.
So that came in more than 2 pieces then.
Oh, that came in 5.
5 different.
Yeah, I think the biggest one of that one that was 7,500 was 11 sections.
I think the one thing people don't realize is that actual modulars are the houses that you can do a $500,000 house for, you know, $300,000. That's really a niche that nobody hits a lot. But the thing is the only way that we aren't competitive is, you know, like maybe a smaller home depending on the labor cost of the manufacturing plant. And each one pays their labor differently, so it balances out to like what style home somebody's looking for versus what manufacturer is going to build it for you.
Right. Slab, and you know, if you're competing against something that's like a slab on grade house, where you have the opportunity for, you know, the cement's going to settle and crack underneath your flooring and water seepage and things. Yes, you can go out and buy a less expensive house. You can even buy from some of the HUD code manufacturers will build what they call a modular that's done more from the HUD code direction. You know, it's kind of building off the HUD code, and what we're doing is building off of the stick built.
It's a difference when you look at manufacturers that build mobile homes and modulars, just because some of the same components that would wind up in a mobile home wind up in the modular. And the reason that you would go with a modular versus a mobile home is for equity, you know what I mean, it increases in equity. 2, it's interchangeable parts. If you buy a mobile home, you have to go to a mobile home parts place. It's not like you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot or anything like that. Your doors are different widths, your sinks are different, I mean, there's a lot of components that go in the house that are just different, and you can't find them locally, so it prevents them from being able to upgrade their house and certain things like that.
And if you decide to take one of our homes and in the future and you want to build an addition on it, say you wanted to build a sunroom off the back of the, you know, where you had a deck before, you can do that just like you could with any stick-built home. You would just merely build onto the house. If you tried to do that with a mobile home, you're going to have some Some
code issues that you're not going to be able to line up with a, you know what I mean, like, and you can't really build an addition to a mobile home unless you know, I've seen people put two mobile homes together, but it doesn't really increase its value, you know. The thing is when you put that much money in a mobile home, you're just spending, I mean, the best analogy I can give you is by putting everything into your car and never getting it back, you know. Yeah, you might like your car and it might, you know, it might be really pretty, but if you still have a low-end car and you put all this stuff into it, you're never going to get the money back out.
Yeah, you're still
you know?
going to have a low-end car.
Yeah, you're still going to have a low-end car.
You just made me think of something like, what range of interior, like the flooring?
Oh, we do anything.
No, yeah, you got
We do
hardwoods,
anything.
vinyl plank flooring, rolled goods, carpets,
Kitchen
different levels.
countertops, and
We
you
do
can
granite quartz, anything.
Okay.
I even have someone that's doing cement. They're having
yep, I
cement
had cement too.
countertops put in.
Cement countertops.
Yeah.
Is that a
Pretty
new
slick
thing?
looking, yeah. It's been around
It's very
a while.
modern, though.
They have some other ones that are epoxy based things that they're doing now that are really cool too.
It seems like they would be too heavy for the counters.
Yeah.
I mean, the cabinets that they use, they sell them at
Yeah, ours
Lowe's,
are-
Home Depot. They go in all the stuff.
They're all KCM8.
Yes,
That's the other thing too. The kitchen cabinets are cabinet manufacturers of Kitchen Cabinet Manufacturers of America certified. So the cabinets we use, they'll come in and they'll grab XYZ cabinets and then they'll open and close the doors, you know, 25,000 times and pull the drawer out 25,000 times and test the width and the, you know, if you go into your general HUD code home manufactured housing, they'll have factory built cabinets. The shelving in them will be like ours are 1/2-inch shelves. They'll be like a 1/4-inch shelf in it, so when you put your plates on it you can actually see the shelf bow. Just the construction of them is not as good. They're not held to any standard. They just build them and they log them. Sometimes you'll open the cabinet and you'll see the wall behind it. There's no backer on the cabinet.
But the funny part is that, you know, people say that about mobile homes, but there's stick builders that do the same thing.
Yeah, and there are.
They do builder grade and everything like that, but they don't ever get questioned about quality.
So
They think-
your codes are higher.
Our codes are.
Some of
I'll
our
tell you,
material
our
is much higher.
Yeah, it's much higher, and our inspection process.
There's a lot higher.
If you're in a county, say the size of this one, and you have, let's just say, 3 inspectors for the whole county, or Charlotte, and you have 10. Well, building's booming in Mecklenburg County. Those 10 people are hitting the high spots. They're looking for real safety issues. They just don't want anyone's house to collapse on them. As ours go through the factory, we have an inspector who comes in on behalf of the state of North Carolina or the Commonwealth of Virginia or South Carolina, or they come in and they walk that line and they inspect it. And if we're not hitting everything that's on that list, that house stops right there. And if we don't get it fixed before they leave, nothing moves until they come back.
It's a lot easier for them because they can come by once a week and
They come by
sure.
3 times a week, and they get to go, you know, house to house to house, and they can go back and look at things and double check things, and they're inside. They're not out of doors, you know, looking at stuff. They're inspecting as it goes. All that inspection's done. Once it gets on site, the local inspector can't have you pull drywall off. They can't do any obtrusive inspection. All that has already been handled, and it makes it easier for the county. All they have to do is come in and see the attachment points and how the house is joined together, and they can go about their business.
Well, they're engineered too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all engineered, and then they're signed off by a third party. So they're looked at so many times that, you know, everybody has mistakes and everything. You know, some things do slip through, but if I'm an inspector and I walk through their plant and I know they might be having trouble in this station of their plant, and I can just, you know, I can help them rectify it very easily. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can be said about how many times they're inspected. Plus, their plant workers are skilled. I work with contractors all the time. Just because you're a general contractor doesn't mean that you're skilled at everything. You can't be skilled at everything. So it's not to say that just because your house was built on site, your wall might not be off or something like that. In a manufacturing plant, it's built on a jig system. It's square, it's precise, it's, you know what I mean? So
Right, I've
there's a lot
seen
of-
houses that are built to the foundation's off, and they build the house to the foundation. If the foundation's off when our house comes in, that house is square regardless. So if it's off, you know, a quarter of an inch or something, the house is still square.
It was actually contractors that made me believe in the product more so than anything. When I first started in the industry, it was contractors or people that laid floor. They'd say they'd go in a stick built and they'd get to the end and it was off. You know, but with ours it's not off, you know what I mean? So they were the ones that helped explain what some of the differences were for me and why I had more contractors buy our houses and save the money on their own house and then build other people's houses and make the money.
The other thing too is that the people in our plant, if it's windows, like they're installing windows, that's all they do all day long. They install windows, and there's several of them in each position. So if someone's out, we're not pulling someone out of electrical to put windows in. If you are a contractor and you're on the job, and again, like I said, time is money, and you need this wall framed out, but the guy that's sweeping up, you take him over and you show him how to frame up a wall, and then he just learns on the job. You know, our people are trained and
That's a
they
good
do
point.
one job. That's
Thank
it. That's all they do.
Let's talk about the process. So you deal with the public. Public never sees you.
Once in a while.
Once in a
Well,
while.
it depends on if, you know, how complex a floor plan is, if I need his help, you know, to make sure that they're obtaining everything that they really want or something like that. He'll come around and, you know, help with the customer. But I mean, overall, I have a sales team that should be able to take somebody through that process.
So
And
how
what I-
from the first step, and I'll skip and I'll talk to Doc on the show about making sure you have a pre-approval mortgage. In your instance, you don't have to. This would be a good time for you to say the name of your company again and your
North
website.
Carolina Custom Models.
North Carolina Custom Modulars. When you come in the door, you don't have to have a construction loan. You can have a pre-approval for an FHA or VA home. Or,
Yeah, any kind of financing.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then take it from there.
Well, the biggest difference if I don't require a construction loan is most construction financing, even if you are a VA, they require a down payment. And VA shouldn't require any kind of down payment. So it just helps you get a better loan for you if you don't have to pay certain things just because of construction monies. But the process would be if you come in, I always tell people, I mean, I can break it down into 3 easy steps, and that the reason I do that is because it is very overwhelming. It's very overwhelming for somebody to have 500 floor plans, multiple lenders, and maybe not have land or something like that and not know where to start or how to get there. So first, you know, you arrange your financing, and even if you have a local bank that you deal with, whoever you're comfortable with is who you should deal with. And then that way, you know, your financing is tailored to you instead of somebody else giving you financing that they want for you. The other part of it is a floor plan. I mean, on mine, I say pick, bring, or create your own. It is that easy. If you have a floor plan in mind, if you've lived in a house that you really liked, or you wanted to just tweak a little bit, or if, you know, you had a dream house or something like that, I always want to start with what you want. But the greatest thing is that if we have 500 floor plans and I know the essence of a house that you like, I can take you from a big or a small house with the same essence of your house. Your space flow and your budget is where you really want to think about your floor plan and what you're going to put in it. And then the other part of it is land, and we help people find land. Either, you know, you can have family land, or you can know a neighbor selling land and we'll buy the land, build the house and sell it to you, or we'll just help you find land in the area that you're looking for. But those 3 parts is what makes the whole project come together. Without, you know, one of those, it's going to fail. So just to break it down in those 3 sections helps people focus on what they need to be focusing on to get them to the point where they know that they can buy what they're looking for.
Something you made me think about. The land. Is there a minimum amount of land that you need in order to go through this process?
It depends if it's in the city, it depends if it has county water or county sewer, if it needs a well and septic. I mean, some of those things will determine the size of the property just because, you know, with a septic system, you gotta have a certain amount of land and then you gotta have a repair area and the well has to be a certain distance away from it. But I do have construction managers that meet people out on site and help walk through that and everything. If you need a perk test, we'll help handle that. I just think that there's a lot of things that, go into it that will help take care of it for a customer, because they're at work. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time to go to a county and flag off a house and meet them out there and everything like that, but we help facilitate all of that.
Then, Jay, you gotta keep Jeff engaged, don't you? He's lost in state.
We lost him a couple times.
So then Jeff comes into the picture, or someone like Jeff, and what do you do to make your product more competitive based on somebody comes ahead, okay, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot house. Do you do upgrades? Do you run specials? Do you provide like better kitchen cabinets?
No, there's some things. I mean, everybody has their kind of advantage. Our big advantage, Holmes Building Systems, hbshome.com. We have our big advantage is that we are, a small family-owned operation. I have direct access to the president of the company. Just talked to him this morning, as a matter of fact. But our biggest advantage is the speed at which we can do it, because we're not a gigantic, entity. We're not a big corporation. We're just a small player in the market. But we do have the capability of, I come from a company that did some pretty outrageous stuff. So I have a pretty good understanding of looking at a stick-built plan and altering it around, or taking something that's not quite fitting what we do and making it work without losing the essence of it. I would say probably the swiftness that we can get a house to somebody is huge, because time is money. If we can get it out there, also the people want to be living in it as quickly as they possibly can. We maintain a pretty decent backlog. We do have the ability to, we'll do things that some people just won't do because they don't have the time to mess with it. And so we end up getting a lot of stuff where people are like, I showed this to someone else and they couldn't make it work. And a lot of times we can make it work. I mean, there's some stuff that just does not work.
I would say Jeff is the person that doesn't run away from a challenge.
As a matter of fact, I get more bored with the cookie cutter stuff. It will just make me glaze over faster than anything. But when you get into something like, that I've been doing a lot of 2-story custom houses lately, and those are fun because you can get in and there's things to do that are a little different and off the path, and it allows me to go to my boss and sell him on the idea of it, because they want to keep it simple too, because simple is what runs the factory. It's more cost effective. But once they get through their part of it, then I'll be contacted, and then we'll figure out what the price of the plan is. If it's not one of ours, our prices on our plans are already set. But if they send something in that's new and different, then there's engineering that has to be done on it. There's approvals that have to be done. We're looking at a duplex right now that's fairly complicated. I have to send that in to have that done. Most of the time, if it's something fairly simple, we can figure out what the base price on it is. But
then we'd go back and forth with options and colors and
the customers change their minds.
Then me and him are the ones that will go together and get the final plan to order the house. We'll make sure that the floor plan's correct. He can communicate with the engineer at the plant to make sure everything is correct on the floor plan. And then, me and him work with the spec to make sure that when the house gets ordered, everything that the customer wanted goes in the house, and then that way there's no mistakes.
There are a lot of plants for modular homes across the state of North Carolina.
North Carolina, well, there used to be a lot more. Mm-hmm. I think when I was in Pennsylvania, there were, within 50 miles of us, there were 20 manufacturers. And when the recession hit in 2008, it killed a lot. Our plant and one other were the only ones to survive intact, same ownership, didn't go bankrupt and out of business, didn't go bankrupt and get bought out, didn't get absorbed by larger companies, and then disappear. So we're one of 2 that are left, family owned, that are left in the state of North Carolina. And then there's some other players, but they're, they have plants here, but they're from outside the area.
Yeah, they got big corporates and stuff.
I'm running out of time. This was a good, there was never a break. You guys gave great information. Thank you for helping make my audience real e-savvy. Again, just for a plug.
North Carolina Custom Modulars and mydreammodular.com.
Holmes Building Systems, HBS Home, no S, hbshome.com.
Tune in next month.
This is Drew Brown, an attorney at the Greensboro Law Center. We represent over 1,000 North Carolinians who have gone to Virginia and South Carolina and taken out high-interest car title loans. We contend that these loans are illegal if they're given to North Carolina residents. They violate our usury statutes, and really the people of North Carolina are the victims. We've had success working some of the cases out, and if you hire us, you can do so on a contingency fee, which means you don't only have to pay us out of the money we get back for you. Give us a call, 336-478-6000. That's 478-6000, the Greensboro Law Center. Thank you.
RealESavvy.com has resources to help you become more informed about home ownership. Visit the website and stay tuned for the next Real eSavvy radio broadcast with Christopher Cox every fourth Sunday at 9 a.m. Real eSavvy Radio is a production of RealESavvy.com and is produced through the facilities of Southern Broadcast Media, LLC. Real eSavvy is brought to you by Exit Realty of the Carolinas and the Greensboro Law Center.